Hello students, so today our topic is coordinate geometry. So in lower grades you have already learned about coordinate geometry as Cartesian plane. So what have you learned already? You have learned about Cartesian plane, or we say that it's a plane. What is this Cartesian plane? You can say that there will be x-axis, there will be y-axis, and wherever x and y-axis meet the point, it's known as origin, right? So here O where 0 is written, it's the origin. Then you can take any points in Cartesian plane which represents the position. So if I'm taking here point A, right now if you will see point A from the origin, if I need to reach to point A, I have to go 2 units to the right and then 3 units I have to go up. So that is why what is going to be the coordinates of A? We write down here first x coordinate 2, then you have write down y coordinate as 3, right? So first thing, this is called, whenever we are writing any coordinate which represents a position. So here if you will see, position of A is 2 comma 3, which is always written in ordered pair. So what is the first point you have to write? Remember, it is always, the position is always written in ordered pair, and it's always first x coordinate and then y coordinate. Then what do you know here? X coordinate is known as, what is the other name of x coordinate? We write down as abscissa, right? So you have to remember these terms, and then we are writing, if you are taking the y coordinate, we call it as, if I take y coordinate, we call it as ordinate, right? What else you have to remember? If I'm taking any point on axis, if I'm taking any point on axis, right? If I take this point here, which is point B on x-axis. So now if you will see, from the origin, the movement to B, it is only 2 units. You are moving in x direction, but there's no y direction movement. So x direction movement, you can go right or left. Y direction movement, you can go up or down. But here if you see, from origin, I am just moving towards left, right? So there's no y direction movement. So all the y coordinates on x axis is going to be 0. So what is going to be your here coordinates of B? We can write down here x coordinate is -2, and all the y coordinates on x axis is 0. So what is the pointer we should remember here? Y coordinate, or if we write on here ordinate, right? Ordinate is 0 on x-axis. Similarly, if I take any point on y-axis, if I'm taking here point this is another point C on y-axis, you will see from the origin there is no x direction movement, it's just going up, right? So up it's moving means there is only y direction movement. So what is the coordinate here? That means all the here x coordinate, there is no x coordinate movement. So in ordered pair, you write down in place of x coordinate 0, and you have moved 4 units up. So whenever from the origin you go up, it's always positive. If you're going down, it is always negative. So here if I'll see here, what is the coordinate of C? It is 0 comma 4, right? And what do we write down here? We can write down here x coordinate, or abscissa is 0 on y-axis, right? So these all are the basics that you have already learned in lower grades, right? So remember these pointers. Let us see what are the pointers we have to remember. Then we are going to start with coordinate geometry. What are you going to learn in grade 10? So let us just do the quick recap of whatever you have learned, right? So these are the pointers you have to remember. X-axis is the horizontal line. You can see that here. X-axis is the horizontal line, y-axis is the vertical line. The origin, the coordinates of origin, which is O, it's always 0, 0, because there is no x direction movement and there is no y direction movement. Then there are 4 quadrants. Now from the x-axis, this is known as first quadrant, this is known as second quadrant, this is known as third quadrant, and this is known as fourth quadrant. Now here what is going to be the sign of the ordered pair? Now you see here, if I see these all the points here, which falls on first quadrant, the x coordinate and y coordinate. X coordinate is positive and similarly y coordinate is also positive in the first quadrant. If I go to the second quadrant, now if you see x direction movement, it is towards negative side. So your x coordinate is going to be negative, your y coordinate is going to be positive. Similarly, in the third quadrant, x and y, both the coordinates are negative. So the ordered pair, both the values are going to be negative. And in the fourth quadrant, if you will see, x direction movement is positive. So here x coordinate is positive and y coordinate is going to be negative, right? So all these things are the basic. You have to remember whenever we are taking any ordered pair, it's always written in a comma b that we have seen. Now, what is the meaning of abscissa? So, abscissa here, if you will see, it is the perpendicular distance from y-axis. Now, these two pointers, if you will see, you see MCQ, multiple choice based question, sometime based on this. So, here, if I'm taking point A, right? If I take point A, what is the distance of point A from x-axis? This is the distance of A from x-axis, which is nothing but your y coordinate, right? So here, if I'm taking the distance from x-axis, it represents y coordinate. Similarly, if I see here the distance of A from y-axis, so look at here, this is the distance of point A from x-axis, which is nothing but parallel to x-axis. So it is going to be the x coordinate, right? So the same pointer, it's written here, the abscissa of a point here, abscissa of a point is the perpendicular distance from y-axis. Similarly, ordinate or y-coordinate is a point perpendicular from the x-axis. Now, abscissa on every point on y-axis is 0 that we have already seen, and ordinate of every point on x-axis is 0. Like here, you can see the points B and C, right? These are the representing points on the axis. So these are the basics. Then what are you going to learn in grade 10, right? You should be familiar about all these, the basic terms so that it's easy to do the coordinate geometry. Now in 10th grade coordinate geometry, you don't use graph. Till in ninth grade, you have represent all these points on the graph, right? Then you got some shape, but in 10th grade, your most of the questions are going to be solving based questions. So in 10th grade, see here you can see the mind map. How are we going to use this mind map? This is the 10th grade topic mind map that we are going to use it. So your coordinate geometry is divided into, there are two topics, basically main two topics. In the first topic, you are going to learn distance formula and what are the application of distance formula. Similarly, in the second subtopic, you will learn section formula, and from the section formula, you are going to derive the midpoint formula. So this your chapter is going to be divided into these four parts. So let us start with distance formula, right? Right, you see here I have taken a Cartesian plane. So here we are going to derive. How do you derive distance formula? It's written, if I'm having point A, you can say, see that here this is the point A, right? And what is the point A coordinates we have taken as x1, y1. Similarly, here the point B is there and the coordinates are x2 and y2. Now, what do I do if I say distance, right? So I have to find out the distance between these 2 points, right? Now, this is not a vertical or slant height, vertical height or horizontal height. It is a slant length, right? How are we going to do it? You know that if I can draw here the right triangle, if I'm able to draw, I will be able to find out the length of AB, because here if I'm writing here P, right? Now what can we write down here? Here this is P, right? So if you see here, because this is the length of x1, point A, and here if you will see point B, the x-axis here, the value is on x coordinate is going to be x2. So this point here, it is x2, your this point is your x1. This is origin, right? So what is going to be the length of AP? If you will see here, the length of AP is going to be x2 minus x1. How do we take this? Because I need just this distance, this length to take the AP length. I will be using here Pythagoras theorem. So what can we take it here? x2 minus x1, right? Similarly, if you will see, this is the y direction movement. So here till here, right, this is going to be y1 coordinate, and similarly this here on y-axis is going to be y2. So this total distance from the origin is y1, and here the distance, the total length here, it is y2. Now I need the length of BP. What is going to be the length of BP? Y2 minus Y1. You can see that here this length is going to be Y2 minus Y1. Now using Pythagoras theorem, if I need to find out the distance formula, the distance between A to B, right? Distance AB, right? What do I need to find out? Distance AB. So in triangle APB, if I use, because it's a right triangle, angle APB is 90 degree. Now wherever you see 90 degree, you can use Pythagoras theorem. So what can I write on here? The side opposite to 90 degree is always hypotenuse. So what is my hypotenuse here? AB. So can I take here AB square is going to be equals to AP square plus BP square, right? Now substitute the value. I need to get the length of AP, and this is using Pythagoras theorem. Generally, you don't get the derivation of this theorem, this formula, but you should know how are we getting this, because sometime in your case study application based question they give you, right? So what is the length of AP we have taken? X2 minus X1 whole square, and BP length is y2 minus y1 whole square. So what is going to be my distance formula? Because I need the length of AB. So AB is going to be root x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, right? So this is going to be your distance formula. Now what happened, you can rearrange this also. If I'm taking the coordinates of A as x2 y2 and coordinates of B as x1 y1, so I can change the order also because it's a whole square. Now if I take whole square and if you change the order also, the value is going to remain positive, and it is the length. So when we are taking square root, we don't take positive or negative value. Generally we take, whenever you take square root, we take positive, negative, but this is not algebra based question, this is distance based question, and length cannot be negative. So we are going to consider only positive value. So what is your this formula? Y1 minus y2 whole square. So hope you got this, and we are going to use this formula to solve the questions, right? So understood. What is going to be then other than this? What happens if my one of my pointer, now here if you will see A and B, they both fall on one of the quadrant, right, or any quadrant. If you have the coordinates of 2 points, you can find out the distance, right? So let us see one example. How are you going to use this question to find out the distance between any 2 points, right? So if I say here, if there is a question here, if A coordinates is minus 5 comma 6 and B is minus 2 comma minus 3, or if I take here minus 2, 3, right? These are the 2 points. Now how are we going to take it here? Or because it's going to be same, let me take here minus 3 only. If you need to find out distance between A and B, so how are you going to do it? So first you will always write on the distance formula. What is the distance formula? I can write down here x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, right? Only you need to be careful here with the sign, because sometimes if you take wrong sign, then your answer is going to be wrong. So just be careful, because there are positive and negative values. So while substituting, make sure you are not doing mistake with the sign. Now what is your x2? So this is, if I take this one as x1 y1 and this as x2 y2, right? Two coordinates. So if I'm taking x2, x2 is minus 2, right? Then minus of minus 5, right? And this whole square. So make sure you are substituting the coordinates, and the minus sign in the middle remains as it is. See, minus 2 is x2 value and x1 value is minus 5. Then plus, what is your y2 value? Y2 value is minus 3. So I am writing here minus 3 minus y1 value is 6, right? And then you will take whole square. So how do I simplify this bracket and what will be the sign here? Minus 2 plus 5 whole square plus minus 3 minus 6 whole square, right? Then how are you going to take it after this? Here, if I take it here, it is 3 square plus minus 9 square. And now because this is a square, you are always going to get the positive value. So 3 square is going to be 9 plus here minus 9 square. Minus 9 square means minus 9 into minus 9, which is 81. Correct? So here if I take this, 81 plus 9 is going to be root 90. Right? Now root 90, it is in third form. So we are finding here AB distance. So you can write down here AB is equals to. Now root 90, because you need to write down in the simplest form. This is the length. There is no meter centimeter. You will just write down units. So let us try to do the simplest form of thirds. 9 into 10 I can write down, and 9 is the perfect square. So your answer is going to be 3 root 10 units. So you can get a whole number, natural number, or you can get these kind of surd values also. So this is the way we use the distance formula to find out the distance between any 2 points where the coordinates are given. Now what happened, you have to remember one more thing. If I am taking what is going to be the distance of any point from the origin, right? So that means if I am taking this, if I'm taking any one point, right, let me just show you here this. If there is a point here, can you see this is one point P? Now, what is the coordinates of P? 2 comma minus 3. And the origin is always O. How are you going to find out the distance between these 2 points? Now, OP is nothing but O is the origin, P is this. So, how can you do it here? You can use the same formula, or you should remember, because one of the coordinate is always going to be 0 0, right? So how do we derive this? Here O, if I am writing here, O is always origin, right? P can be anything. Here they have taken X and Y, correct? Now if I use the distance formula, OP is going to be equals to, now what is the formula here? X2 minus X1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Now, if I substitute the values, what is x2 here? X minus 0 whole square plus y minus 0 whole square. Because every time your one pair is going to be 0, 0, so that is not going to impact your length. So what can I write down here? Your new formula, either directly use it or you use the distance formula only. So which formula I can use? Whatever the coordinates are there of P, you just take those values, x square plus y square. So you can find out here this. Similarly, like I was telling you in the above, right? What was O? 0, 0, and P was 2 comma minus 3. So OP length, instead of using this, I can directly take here 2 square plus minus 3 square. Make sure you are writing bracket because it's a perfect square, so the value is going to be positive. So it is going to be 4 plus 9. So your length of OP is going to be root 13 units. So this is the way to find out distance between 2 points using distance formula, or if your one of the point is origin, you can take here root x square plus y square, right? You got this? Hope you got this. Thank you. We'll do the practice question in the next session. So thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Also, keep practicing.